Okay, how's it going here today? This is Greg from Legacy Productions, and I've been waiting for this product for such a long time that I was actually finally, oh my, the zoom likes to zoom out by itself. I've been waiting for this thing for a ridiculously long time, longer than anything I've ever waited for. This is gonna change our channel. This is gonna change everything. Okay, so here I kind of semi-opened it. So I have the 7D, wish I could say the 5D, but you know, I can't afford that. So this thing kind of came poorly packaged, I can say that. But here it is, the slider. This is a good length. I like this length. So I can't say nothing about it. Let's see if I can get some more light in here. It's reasonable. So, okay, so I'm opening it up here. Sorry, I'm one-handedly holding a DSLR. But the cool thing about this is that I got it not only for its price, this was like one of the greatest prices ever. I got it for $50 and I found it after it went out of stock, which I don't know why I bought this as an impulse buy. And it went up to $100. So this is like a really good deal. You know, give me a moment to set this down and actually get it prepped up for you guys. Okay, how's it going? And I'm gonna talk about the slider, and now I got it assembled. The first thing I'm gonna tell you here is if you put a heavy camera like the Canon 70, you put the Canon 70 on there, it's gonna be too heavy, especially with its, I think, kit 28 to 135 ultrasonic, sorry. You put that on there, and I went ahead and I put 5100 on it, and the results are way better. The lens isn't heavy. If I put my ED camera on there with the ED lens and the 5100, it would support the weight. I doubt. You gotta have a really lightweight camera body and a lightweight lens to go ahead and get really good shots. It looks really good, I can say that. One thing I'm gonna tell you here, I lubricated it, but it looks like bits of paint are chipping off. Like, it looks like they did a really poor paint job, and I know this because I used to work in a paint shop, repairing cars and doing paint jobs, and I would know when a paint job is done bad, is if like I put my hand over it and I feel bumps, that means it wasn't done correct. And about this car here, yep, smart. About this slider here, it looks like they did a really poor paint job, and right even on here, I think I can get close-ups, or in a bit later I'll add that in. Even there, I can start to realize that it's chipping off the paint. The friction side here is chipping off paint. If you're gonna buy a slider, don't buy it black. That's all I'm gonna say. A gray color would immediately work way better because there's no paint. Eventually, it's gonna work for me once this thing goes through its chipping phase, where it chips off every piece of black paint off this thing. Not every piece, but so many pieces, and it leaves it nice and smooth. Now, I put the lubricant on there to go ahead and kind of get away from that, but out of the box, I would have expected for it not for it to be doing this at all. Now, this is a Neewer slider. I like it, paid $50, you pay what you get. One of the things I'm gonna tell you here is that make sure to remove all front lens accessories. If you're not getting audio from the thing, there's no point adding a shotgun. There's no point adding a battery grip. There's no point of adding any other type of flipping accessory unless it's a follow focus. Do not add anything that's gonna make the camera heavy enough where this slider is not gonna support it. Like, I can push it and it won't go that much distance. On the 70, it only went like around like this much. And this right here, it goes way farther because the camera's lightweight, and I have the friction slider not tightened all the way, but if I loosened it, it goes pretty far. If I go ahead and throw it, it goes for a really good distance. But you want to go ahead and have control of the camera. You don't want to be like throwing the camera. So one thing is you have to push kind of down on it, but not too much, where you can go ahead and fight against those impurities of the paint job that this thing gave, and the impurities of the friction cups, or the little U's, I mean, that are there. The next thing I'm going to talk about is if the heavier camera you put on here, you're not going to get results. For me, if you're a Nikon user, I have the 5100, the same battery, SanDisk SD card, and an EDDX Nikon 18 to 70 millimeter lens with no filter and no hood. Unless you're on the sun, add the hood. If you're not in the sun, don't even bother adding it. It's just ridiculous to have out there. And one of the things I'm going to tell you here is that make sure to have a lightweight camera. Sure you're actually able to go ahead and slide. I think without the lubricant, this slider would have been more harder for me to work with. I'd have to be constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, till it starts scraping off paint, and I've been able to get more impurities out, which I'm kind of doing right now. And I kind of move this slider. And that's one thing you should realize. Don't slam this thing and make it hit the side. Just go back and forth when you first get it, and just see some paint chip off. I know it's gonna make it kind of look ugly, but you want to go ahead and do that so you can go ahead and get it off as much impurities as possible, so the friction slider doesn't hit any buttons. Now, if I go ahead and push it through with my finger, I can notice some areas. Right there, right there, right there. Like there's some areas I can feel. I feel like getting better after I continuously scraped it. There are some areas where I would just go ahead and just ruin it. One thing is, if the lens is pointing out that way or you have it directional, make sure to hold back. So when you push down, it'll kind of distribute the weight on the plate, and that will give you better results. Or hold it like this and push it. Don't hold it by the camera, or either hold it like this. And then if you're doing pulling focus, I pull focus in that way. Another few things I'm going to talk about here is I like the build of this thing. This doesn't feel cheap. The screws here, I maybe just need to tighten them. That's just probably could be me. Yeah, I need to tighten them. This thing doesn't feel cheap. I don't feel like I wouldn't be secure with putting like a 70 or like a T3i. Going for like heavier cameras, probably like $1,000 camcorder or something like that. Don't put anything heavy on this thing. Don't put too many accessories on this thing. Don't expect to get the results you to get out of a ball bearing slider. This is more meant towards camcorders, 5100s, 3200s. A camera that's lightweight, that's not the weight of the heavy weight of a 70, a 5D Mark II. Anything that is really beefy, or even like the Nikon D810. Around those cameras, do not put them onto this slider. If you are, you're gonna have a kind of hard time struggling. You might have to have an assistant constantly lubricating this thing. And it'll kind of be ridiculous, and your hands will smell like lubricant, and people are gonna look at you funny, and that's pretty much it from that point. But as for anything else, I like this slider. I'm gonna do a test video out of this. So if you guys have any questions, this is the Neewer slider. I ordered it off of eBay for $50. I'm gonna say here, please put more tripods or invest in a steadier tripod. This is tightened as you can get. And that's the result you're gonna get if you use a cheap tripod like this. Even if I had this loose, just as a mistake, slide your camera, boom. Please, if you're getting one of these, buy a good tripod. Buy a fluid pan head. $54 to be exact. I got it at a really good cheap price. After I saw the reposting of the item, it was actually at $100 to $200 for this length. I'll put details of the order below about it. You can't find a link for this thing anymore. Amazon could have it, but it could be a whole other brand. Just like how you would go ahead and order cheaper items, they usually just get taken, or they're copy design and they rebrand it to something of their own. Just like that shoulder rig a while back that I did. That thing is a Cowboy Studio thing, and it got rebranded to Limo Studio. It's some other studio third-party name. So when you always look out there, when you're buying a camera slider, and you're going for like $50 or $100, if you really want a replica of mine, it's a Neewer slider. I like it. There hasn't been any reviews out there for it. I think I'm the first specifically for this slider, but there's other sliders also made by Neewer, I believe, that use ball bearing. This one doesn't have it, but eventually in the future I'll probably upgrade the plate to a bearing system, and that will actually make this slider way better than it is before now. So as for anything else, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or you want to tell me anything that you think would be good for another video for this thing, please comment below. As for anything else, please subscribe for more camera reviews, short films, skits, and practically anything I throw into this channel, even including vlogs. As for anything else, this is Greg from Legacy Productions, and see you later.